Hello my lovelies and welcome back to Sondering Tarot. This is part 4 out of 5 for my Deck Strength versus Weakness series for the featured deck of the month, which is our lovely Soul Cats Tarot that you see right here. So welcome to your first anti-pair video. This is the Tarot edition. I confess I don't have a lot of indie decks that don't pair with the Soul Cats Tarot, so I will be doing those last because I only have like 3 or 4 of them. So we're going to start with mass market, literally. And here we go, right off the bat, we have the Mystical Cats Tarot. Yep, I said it. Mystical Cats Tarot. These two decks do not like each other whatsoever. And I know that sounds really weird to some of you. You're like, but they're both cats. They should get along. It's the same energy. Nope. Does anybody know what happens when two tomcats meet? Can anyone say cat fight? That's basically what these cats do. These two decks do not like to interact. I mean, they're both cat themed. They both have, you know, the goddess Basset energy to them, but no. Just no, don't do it. For the love of God, don't do it. You'll have war basically on the table. So skip that as a deck you're trying to pair. Just, I wouldn't. Alright, and the next deck, you probably recognize it from the backing, which also has a cat on it. This is the Everyday Witch Tarot. And unfortunately, I currently only have this in a mini. Let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit further, because yes, I do only have this in a mini. Okay, this is a well-known, very common mass market deck. Unfortunately, it does not pair with the Soul Cats Tarot. And the reason being is not because it has cats and dogs featured throughout the deck. It's not the animal energy that is prevalent in the Everyday Witch Tarot. Believe it or not, the reason why these two do not get along is because of the witch theme in the Everyday Witch Tarot. It doesn't like it, which is really weird, because you think witches, you think, oh, black cat, right? Well, in this case, no. Just no. It's not gonna work. And it's so sad to say it that way, that's the energy and problem between the two decks. It is simply because it's witch theme, but it is so true. And while I've got you guys zoomed in, we're going to continue with the mini decks. This is another mass market mini. This is the Radiant Y Spirit Tarot. It is a spirituality deck. That is the strength. And this is the only spirituality deck that I'm aware of in my collection that does not pair with the Soul Cats Tarot, which is really interesting considering this is quite literally an RWS clone. It is the traditional RWS deck that has had line work and color saturation adjusted, so it's brighter, the images are sharper. So your neutral classical RWS deck, nope, doesn't like it. And it's so odd that that's the one and only spirituality deck that Soul Cats is just like, yeah, whatever, nope. And because I do try to give you guys at least 10 to 12 decks, we're going to keep moving right along. And probably some of you are crying right about now, given the deck that I just put on the table. You probably recognize the backings. This is the Witches Tarot by Ellen Dugan. And yeah. I would say that it's the witch theme with the Witches Tarot that is, you know, might be the issue, the influx of witch energy, considering I just talked about that. But that's not the problem between these two decks. Any witchy energy is not as heavily prevalent in the Witch's Tarot as it is compared to the Everyday Witch Tarot. So that is not the problem between these two decks, despite the name of the deck. Actually, the problem between these two decks is actually that when they're on the table together in a spread, they create doubt. I know that's so weird to say, but it's like something doesn't jive with the communication. It just creates doubt for the reader. And I don't know if that's because too many gaps are not being filled between the two decks, or just different communication styles. They create doubt. You know, there's this huge big question mark, and that's really sad to say, considering, you know, this is a very popular deck. And it's a good deck, but I don't recommend pairing it with the Soul Cats Tarot unless you really want to confuse yourself really, really good first. And I'm going to go ahead and adjust where I've got the decks and probably zoom us back out just a smidge. Okay, and as you can see from the backings I've just put down for a deck. You probably know what deck this is. This is the Magical Dogs Tarot. Believe it or not, this is my #1 shadow deck. And as much as the Soul Cats does not have issue with shadow work decks, it has a beef with this one. And that is purely because of the animal energy. Cats and dogs don't always mix, and in this case it is cliche, but ultimately true. These two decks do not like each other, and it's all because one is a cat and one is a dog. I don't even put these two decks next to each other on the shelf, if that tells you anything. I have at least one deck right in the middle between these two decks. I keep them separate. I'm going to move right along. I don't want to spend too much time on the same deck. We're going to shake it up a little bit because now we're going to discuss the Disney's, Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. And of course this is a pip deck. Now, just because this is a pip deck, that is not why these two decks dislike each other. Believe it or not, the reason why these two do not get along is because they cancel each other out. They are, they don't see eye to eye because they cancel each other out. They just, it's polar opposites, I guess you could say. Which is really weird, but it's so true when these two are on the table together. And now there are other pip decks that do not pair simply because they are pip decks. But that is not the reason for the Nightmare Before Christmas. For those of you that haven't, that's not the issue. And another popular mass market deck that you probably recognize from the backings, the Forest of Enchantment. Now, this is a good deck. It really is. It's actually my Earth Element deck, and it feels like its own little world. You know, it's heavy Earth energy, but yes, there is a lot of different animals in this particular deck. The whole forest, in fact. And because of that, the Soul Cats does not like some of the animal energy in the Forest of Enchantment. So these do not pair. So for the sake of, you know, using the deck, yeah, you might have a one-off thing where the cat energy will get along with, you know, a card that has fish in it. Or like this one, the Ace of Challenges, the Ace of Swords, where it has a bird in it. But you keep on flipping and you end up with a card that, yes, has a stag or a deer or other type of maybe predator, and the soul cats will no longer communicate. There you go. There's one. The black shuck, a wolf. When you come across cards like this with the animal energy, it shuts down. So I do not recommend attempting to even pair these together, simply because a fair amount of the deck, the Soul Cats Tarot, is not going to like the energy due to the animals depicted. So it's a no-go. I'm so sorry. Alright, and we're going to switch right over into indie decks. And some of you may recognize this one, and some of you may not. This is the Divine Tarot of the Unicorn. A lot of us that follow, interact with Lisa, the supportive tarot group, the Unicorn fam, of course, pointed this deck out to her because it was unicorns, not her type of unicorns, but unicorns. And this is another perfect example of the Soul Cats not being able to make sense of a deck due to the animal energy. This is a unicorn themed deck. And as you can see, it's very colorful, very pastel, very different looking. But the Soul Cats Tarot is a little confused on what to do with horny horses. It doesn't compute to the Soul Cats. It gets confused. Or in this case, as you can see from these cards, they want to move away from each other. One goes one direction, one goes the other. So yes, as you can see from my examples, animal energy is iffy when it comes to the Soul Cats Tarot. It has to be the right animal, or it has to be an animal that the Soul Cats can tolerate with a very strong strength to that deck, to where the Soul Cats will interact with it. So it's Soul Cats. I mean, it's a cat. They're finicky. They're picky. They pick and choose who they want to be around, who they interact with, who their favorite people are, etc. So treat this literally like the animal it is, and realize that if you're going to put it with an animal deck, don't expect it to turn out well. So yeah, go into that whole situation expecting the introduction to end poorly, if that makes sense. Alright, and we're going to keep right on moving. This is the Out of Hand Tarot by Jamie Sawyer. Believe it or not, this is a career deck. And here's something that I've discovered with the Soul Cats Tarot. So as much as I'm only going to show you one of these, just to show you a career deck. Another thing the Soul Cats Tarot has issues with is career decks. I don't have a single career deck that I am aware of in my collection that pairs with the Soul Cats Tarot. And I know some of you are like, wait, if I want to utilize my energy towards, my career and my life purpose, if I want to manifest money, what do I do? Well, I haven't found quite the workaround of a career deck that pairs with the Soul Cats Tarot. Let me double check, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I had no career decks. Yeah, no known career decks. So, this is where I'm going to ask you, if you guys have a deck that is a strength of career that you can get to pair with the Soul Cats Tarot, let me know what that deck is, because I want to explore that option if it's a deck I can bond to, because right now I don't have one. I really don't have one. And in fact, even my ancestors agree that the Soul Cats Tarot has issues when it comes to pairing with any type of career deck. So I fully expect that to be a struggle for everyone. Alright, and we're going to discuss our last and final deck. This is the Golden Journey Luxury Edition deck. And for those of you that aren't aware of this deck, this is an AI deck. And much like the Forest of Enchantment, this is a deck that is its own little world. And it's because of that these two don't pair. It's like the Soul Cats Tarot is set on Earth and the Golden Journey is on a faraway planet. They're completely different worlds. So trying to get them to interact and communicate fairly well falls significantly short. And there's not much you can do about it. And yes, there is a couple animals depicted in the Golden Journey Tarot, but that is not why they dislike each other, why they can't get along. And it's because they're just too far apart. Different lands, different countries. But the more apt description is that they feel like different worlds. And because they're not in the same realm, as it were, it just doesn't work. Okay, my lovelies, I showed you several decks that do not pair with the Soul Cats Tarot, and I will list the full list of that in the description box down below. Feel free to expand it if you would like to see more. Also, if you missed parts 1 through 3, they will also be in the description box down below. I have one more part to film and release to you. That is the Anti-Pairs Oracle section. I will be releasing that tomorrow because I like to release these videos consecutively. So before I let you go, a couple of things. If you have any of these decks and they pair, let me know what you think. If you have these decks and they don't pair, you know, let me know any of your workarounds, especially with it coming to career decks. Perhaps you have different career decks than what I have in my collection, so I would definitely be interested to know. Also, for those of you that enjoy this series, like this series, I do have the poll up for October's Deck of the Month when it comes to the Strength versus Weakness series. Please go to my channel, go to my community tab, and vote for whatever deck you would like to see next month. Alright, my lovelies, I hope this was fun. I hope this was informative. And hopefully you guys feel free to, you know, like, share, subscribe, and utilize any information that you get from this particular series. I actually have a little bit of fun doing it. And the more you guys give me feedback, the more you guys hit those polls and vote on decks, the more you guys give me a thumbs up to let me know that you enjoy the content, the more I will put out videos with it. So thank you one last time so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.